Hey guys, welcome back to my survival world. It's me, Ryasune, and today I'd like to make another trip to the Nether. Between episodes, I was scouting out in the Nether to find another fortress, and today I would like to go take it on, and hopefully we can get some blaze rods, and we can start making our own potions here in Fopswel, instead of having to go all the way out to the igloos in the ice biomes. So, we'll get our gear on, head into the Nether, and we'll make our way over to the Nether Fortress. I unfortunately must admit that I have once again perished within the Nether, as when I was coming back from my scouting mission, I got attacked by a large magma cube right next to my portal, which I learned that if you use your shield against them to protect yourself, it will break nearly instantly, and after having knocked me into the lava, that caused me to lose the majority of my stuff. So hopefully we can avoid dying again for a third time in the Nether, but we'll have to see how we do. Oh my gosh, why are there so many of them? Anyways, I managed to get a couple of fire resistance potions from trading with piglins, so hopefully we'll be able to defend ourselves at least somewhat decently from the blazes within the Nether Fortress, but I'm very accident prone, so we'll have to see how that goes. I managed to get a harness on this strider, but I just realized I don't have my warped fungus on a stick, so I'll be right back with you guys once I've got that. Now that we have our warped fungus on a stick, we can actually head out to the Nether Fortress. There are a couple of dungeons and taverns structures within the Nether that I found on my scouting expeditions that I'd also like to stop at before we head to the Nether Fortress if possible. In this direction, I believe there was a Wither Skeleton camp, and on the way to the Nether Fortress itself, there's a Piglin camp, I believe. Unfortunately, I have not installed the Dungeons and Taverns Nether Fortress overhaul, so we'll have to visit another one later after I install that mod. Over in this direction is also a Piglin hamlet, I believe, but I don't think I want to go there without diamond gear at least, so that'll definitely be at a later date. I'm not really sure how I should get up here, considering if I want to get off, I'll have to use a fire resistance potion, so maybe I can just drop some gravel in to the lava and we can build up from that. I'm hoping that the lava won't be too deep in that spot and we won't have to use much gravel, but I'll just gather as much as I can just in case. Oh my goodness. Okay, well I guess the fire resistance potion is getting used anyway. Okay, now that we have gravel, we should be able to get onto this island here without too much difficulty, though it will be kind of a pain to get the strider to stay in place while we place the blocks. And not suffocate me as well. Since this camp has wither skeletons, I'm hoping that I can shoot at them from a distance so that I don't get the wither effect and die out here before I even make it to the Nether Fortress. Okay, one wither skeleton down, and I'm not sure if there's more than just one. I'm hoping there's just one. I don't see any others though, so I think we've safely managed to get to the camp. I believe this chest here should house a map to one of the other larger skeleton structures, so we'll open it up, and it looks like we do. Cool, another skeleton tower map. I'll just take these other random items, and I definitely don't need this stone sword. I guess I can take it to disenchant, though that's probably not super worth it considering I'll probably die and lose those levels anyways. I was surprised that there's only one wither skeleton, so I'm wondering if there were other skeletons there before that just fell off of the platform, as the pillager camps often have at least 3 or 4 pillagers there, as opposed to just one singular enemy. I believe this structure here, directly above us, is the piglin camp, though perhaps since we already used our fire resistance potion, maybe we should skip out on it? But that said, it does look like the path up there is a lot easier and has a lot less risk for falling into the lava. Since the leads fall into lava, I think I'm just going to encase this strider here in a cobblestone area so that it can't escape. No, get back in there. Now our strider should remain here and we can go check out that camp above us. Okay, yeah, this one definitely is a piglin camp. I'm hoping that there won't be a piglin brute here, which it looks like it probably would have been killed with all the lava that spilled down here. So I guess we could just easily sneak in here and grab whatever in this barrel. Which we get a piglin outstation map. I'm not entirely sure what structure that is, but I think it might be the building larger than the hamlet that we went near earlier. Honestly, I was expecting a little more resistance from these camps here, but I guess the various circumstances just killed most of the enemies there. And here's the base of our nether fortress. I'm not entirely sure how we'll have to get up here, but I'm thinking that maybe we can make landfall around this warped forest, and then maybe we can find a way around to get into the nether fortress. And our strider should be safe there, and we can head up to the nether fortress. I see the pillars down there, so if we jump across here and dig into the wall up here, hopefully we can intercept the structure and get inside. And hopefully we can also not be drenched in lava as we dig upwards. Well, this definitely doesn't seem to be getting us to the nether fortress, so perhaps we can find another way around that doesn't involve guesswork. Okay, this should do a lot better. And there it is. Just gotta figure out how to get in there. I'm realizing that I probably should have brought torches, but hopefully we will be fine without them. And here we are. I'll grab this cobblestone so we can keep ourselves safe from any wither skeletons that might be lurking, and it'll also help us find our way back to the entrance so we can make it home safely. Somewhere nearby I hear blazes, so we can see about finding that spawner and we can get some blaze rods. First, I definitely want to drink this potion of fire resistance before fighting them though. And we got our first blaze rod. I'll definitely get more than just one to be sure that we have enough to brew a few potions before having to return to this place. 11 should probably be more than enough, so we can just block off the blaze spawner so they can't follow us while we're continuing to explore, and we can go look for perhaps some armor trims. I'm not sure what the chance on the rib armor trim is, but I know that when I've looked for it before, I haven't had much luck in finding it. We'll also definitely need to find some nether wart too, otherwise we won't be able to brew any potions. Oh my goodness, that's way more wither skeletons than I want to encounter, and I don't want to be on fire. Oh, okay. I've just found another blaze spawner, but I'm definitely going to block this off because I don't want to fight more blazes without another fire resistance potion. So we'll definitely have to come back later if we end up needing more blaze rods. Oh my goodness, why are there so many wither skeletons? Why? To say I'm not very scared right now would be a lie. Oh my gosh, no, please. Okay. Whew. At this point, I'm fairly certain that I've searched the entirety of this nether fortress, and I haven't found a single area that we can go inside and would be able to find nether wart. So I'm thinking that maybe we can head home and maybe just work on the building project for today, and we can come back later to see if we can't grab nether wart from some other location, like the larger piglin structure. With as many dungeons and tavern structures as there are, I don't know very much about probably a good majority of them, so I can only speculate that the piglin hamlet has nether warts. I know I have been to a structure that at least appeared to be the same one before in a different playthrough, and I think it had nether warts, but I can't be certain. So hopefully when we head there, we will be able to quickly get some and get out before dying. The Nether is definitely a place that I struggle to narrate my gameplay, as unlike in the overworld, I always have to be watching my back to make sure I'm not falling in lava and losing all my items. So I'm very glad to be back into the overworld now. That said, the main reason that I have been hoping to get potions is I have these two zombie villagers down in this boat here in my mind that I would really like to cure so we can have more villagers for the village, but unfortunately, obviously, we still need to get the nether wart so we can actually do that. Between the stress of the nether and the lack of success in actually finding any nether wart in the nether fortress, I decided to take a little break from recording, but now I'm ready to continue with today's episode. I did remember that to brew the weakness potions we need to cure the zombie villagers. We actually don't need any nether warts, and we can just directly brew a fermented spider eye with a bottle of water, and we'll be able to make our weakness potions. So I'll go grab our blaze rods and brewing stand, and we'll get that going. I should probably actually get some bottles of water if I want to brew these potions. So I'll go grab that real quick, and then we'll get brewing. I'm really glad to be able to brew things here at my main base, instead of having to venture all the way out to the igloos to brew anything. So this will definitely be a huge improvement in our ability to brew the weakness potions we need to cure future villagers. Another huge benefit of the blaze rods we got is that now we can craft an Eye of Ender, which will allow us to make an ender chest. This will definitely help a lot with our inventory management, and will serve almost like a shulker box until we actually make it to the end. Fortunately, we have a silk touch pickaxe, so we can bring it wherever we go, and we can store a bunch of stuff in it for when we go on various adventures. I know I have some golden apples back at my starter base, so I'm gonna go grab those really quick, and then we can get our villagers sorted, and we can cure them. I have a plan for one of the villagers to make him be a farmer villager that will tend to a garden within the village, but I'm not entirely certain what I want to do with the other villager just yet, so we'll definitely have to keep him safe until we have a good profession for him to work. I'm hoping that we will not have too much difficulty getting the villagers into separate boats so that we don't repeat our mistake from episode 4, or whichever one that was, where I accidentally let one of them die. I should probably get some blocks out so maybe I can separate them. And will this even work? I'm not sure how. Oh, okay. Well, we'll figure something out, hopefully. Maybe I should throw this potion of weakness at them now, so that we'll have an easier time separating them. We do have 3, and I can get both of them with just 1 potion. So I'm hoping that within the 1 minute and 30-second time allotment we have, we can separate them both safely. But if not, we do have 2 extra potions just in case. Oh, they don't even do any damage. Well, this certainly makes things a lot easier. Excuse me. Oh my goodness, how am I gonna get these 2 separated? Oh, please. Excuse me, sir. I'd like to help you, but I can't do that if you keep on trying to attack me. Oh my goodness. Please. I'm trying my best to save you. Honestly, I'm not really sure what the best way to get these 2 separate is, so this might take a bit of a while. Maybe we can actually use the minecart to separate them, since only one of them can sit in a minecart. I think I'm just going to throw another potion of weakness on them so they can't deal any damage, because that certainly makes this process a lot easier. Yes! We got one in a minecart! Nice! Okay, now we can actually cure them. 1 apple for you. And 1 golden apple for you. Nice! While our villagers recover from zombification, I'd like to discuss today's plans. Outside of the walls of our village by the bridge, I'd like to build a small farming area where we can just grow various crops that will help support us in our adventures. And after that, I'd also like to build a house for one of these villagers who will become the gardener. I don't want to let either of them venture outside the walls because there's a good likelihood that they'll get killed out there. So I'm going to give him a personal garden by his house. I haven't quite decided where I want to build his house, but I'm thinking that this plot here might not be the worst space for it, as it's got enough room for a house and a small garden for him to operate, and being right here next to the market, I'm wondering if we can somehow integrate his house into this market stall right here. Another project that I'd like to do today is a bit of a special one. Up on top of that hill, I want to build a little obelisk that's inspired by the ones in Spirit of the North 2, just to add an interesting little structure to the landscape. I think it'd be cool to have one at every important location in the world, as in Spirit of the North 2, they serve as sources for expanding your world's map. The structure is all black and has kind of a strange shape, so I've actually planned this build out in creative before attempting to do it here, because I thought it would be a lot easier to freely develop the idea without the constraints of survival before putting one in my world. So I'll gather some of the resources that are required and we can get to work. Before we lay down the foundations, I'll just put some of this construction materials away so we can clear a bit of a space to put the build, and then we can get to work. I'm thinking that if we tear down this layer of grass, we can hopefully get a 9x9 area upon which to place the obelisk. This area isn't quite large enough, so I'm thinking we can just take this down as well, and then we'll have more than enough space to work with to build the obelisk. I'll put the materials I cleared out into the ender chest, and I'll grab the things I need to make the foundation. Before the sunset, I just went ahead and marked out a little cross shape that will help me center the build where I want it. First, I'll put down our soul soil, and then we can start putting our tuff in. Part of me is wondering if I shouldn't go with the chiseled tuff bricks down here so it matches up with the one in the center. I think I'm going to change the design to do that real quick. Now we have the central part of the structure where the obelisk will stand, and we'll start to construct the surrounding platform. I'm thinking we can have the lodestone on this side facing the village, so we can just leave a little space for that as we build the platform. I'll go ahead and put the lodestone in. And I'll make some slabs to round off the corners here. With all these slabs in, we can sprinkle in our pale moss. And we can light the soul fires underneath the obelisk. I am realizing now that one of our most important elements for the build, crying obsidian, is actually being stored at my starter base. So I'll go and grab that real quick, and then we can start on the obelisk itself. I'll grab 4 of these, and we can head back to the build site. We can grab the materials to build the obelisk itself and put everything else away, and now we can continue the project. In game, after you activate an obelisk, it will lift up off of the platform it's on and float in the air, which is a really cool effect, and I'm glad that it worked as well as it did in Minecraft when I was planning this build. We'll build the inside here. We'll place the cap on the bottom, finish up our polished blackstone outlines, make the pointed top, and then we can add our stairs. I've just taken a step back, and I realized that the reason I ran out of polished blackstone is because I've accidentally built it 1 block too tall, so I'm gonna just fix that up real quick. And I'll be back once the build is actually complete. And here we have our completed obelisk. I'm gonna grab a couple of grass and ferns to put on the pale moss to help blend this a little bit more into its environment, and then we can get to work on our next project. I think my favorite thing about this build is that it is visible both from my starter base and Fopswel. So I'm very happy that I was able to place it on this ledge where it would be a clear landmark from 2 important places in my world. Before starting today's main building projects, I ended up actually taking the glow lichen off of the obelisk, as I felt that it took away from its stark black color. For my main projects today, I'd like to try something a little different. I kind of would like to pick up the pace of building a little bit here so that we have a little bit more time to do other activities that I have been putting off. So I'm thinking we can sort of do a pseudo time-lapse where I put on some music, link a bunch of clips of my progress together, and come back to a completed build. And here we have the results of this episode's build projects. As you can see, we've got a variety of different fields, a cute little barn for storing crops, and in the back there, we have our gardener's house. I think that this might be one of the cutest and coziest things I've ever built in Minecraft, to be honest. I'm really happy how it turned out. So I'll get down to the ground and show you all around. I named this place Jade's Barn as I put one of my gemstone themed cats in here. I've got a few little decorations, and I'm hoping that I can use this building as a storage room for all my seeds and stuff. We've got our wheat seeds, our beetroot seeds, we've got potatoes and carrots, and we've got this cute little loft up here. And out back we've got this cute little patio. I'm thinking that I can expand this little farming region a little bit more, and I think that this little spot here in the corner of these two roads would make a good location for another field of some sort. And I'd also like to make a beekeeper's hut somewhere around here, as we've got lots of bees in the area, and I haven't set my honeycomb farms back up yet, so we definitely need a place for those. Within the village walls, we have our newest addition to the village itself, with our gardener's house. I built this cute little market stall from which the gardener could sell his goods, and I've also got this little bin of different items that I think would be cool to put on some sort of rotating redstone circuit, but I'll have to figure out how to do that. I wanted to make this one here, which is supposed to look like potatoes, swap out, but unfortunately the redstone for the statue is already below that and would prevent me from being able to place a block swapper and piston feed tape there. As you can see, we've got the farmer's garden over by the creek in this corner, and if we venture inside, we have probably one of my favorite interiors in the village so far. I put the bedroom right next to the door so it's easier for the villagers to pathfind, and then we've got this nice big kitchen with cakes that I have not decided yet where I want to have them be located, and then just a cozy little table and bookshelves. I'm thinking some of the other market stalls out here could be like a fisherman's stall and maybe like a bookshop of some sort, and I don't really know what the last one would be, to be honest. But if you guys have suggestions, let me know. One more task that I'd like to address before wrapping up the episode is to make use of our ominous shrine keys we got back in episode 6. It's something that I've been putting off, so I'd definitely like to get that done. So I'll get geared up with stuff that isn't just for the Nether, and we'll grab our ominous shrine keys from our starter house, and we'll head out to the tier 5 shrine. Looking at the state of my other armor here, it might not be very worth it to wear that for this expedition, so I guess I'll just keep what I have on me, and we can head over there. We'll grab our ominous shrine keys, and we'll head back to Fopswel, get in a boat, and head out to the shrine. And here we are. It's been long enough that I don't remember what sort of loot we'll get from the ominous vaults here, but I'm guessing that it's probably something like the Dungeons and Taverns Traveler enchantment, which you put on your boots to make you run a little faster, and probably some diamonds or something. Even though it's an ominous vault, I'm assuming that you cannot get things like heavy cores from the structure, as it's not a trial chamber. I'm starting to think that I might be a lot more tired than I should be to take on any sort of combat trials right now, but manage. Up on the wall is our first unopened ominous vault, so I'll just pillar up there with my scaffolding and we'll unlock it. Enchanted book, golden ingots, a turtle scoot, and an enchanted iron axe. I don't remember exactly what this spiteful enchantment does, but I think it's something like increasing your damage when you're at low health. We also got a sharpness 2 and protection 2 book as well. Hey, there's a second ominous vault. I just gotta get past all these cobwebs to get to it. Oh, and there's one down here. Cool. I did not know that. Another enchanted book. An armor trim, nice, and some golden carrots and a diamond axe. Oh, and diamond leggings too, nice. We got Traveler 3, which is the highest level Traveler enchantment goes, and we got Blast Protection 4. I'm pretty sure I already have full armor trim, unfortunately. From this one, we get another enchanted book, some emeralds, another spew, another enchanted book. Let's see, Spiteful 2 and Smite and Efficiency 2. This stronghold themed room is the last combat room in this shrine, so I'm assuming those are probably the last two ominous vaults in this structure, but I might as well check just to make sure that there aren't more that I'm missing. I've made it to the main vault room, and I didn't find any other ominous shrine vaults within the stronghold rooms, so we have one more key to use on a different shrine. With our loot collected, I think now is a good time to wrap up the episode. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!